happens if you believe something that's not true? How do you figure that out?
I talk to people.
Nope, that's not good enough. That's not good enough because you could talk to people that reaffirm whatever you believe.
You never really know, I guess. No.
So that's your world. That's what you're selling to people. You can't know if you're right. You have no idea. With concrete example then, when it comes to wearing masks, how do you know if that's a good idea or not?
Because if people more powerful than me are telling me to do it, I instantly don't believe them.
Do you understand that that just makes you a sheep of the other herd, right? If there is a shepherd and he says all the sheep go left, you can either choose your own path or you can go right because he told you to go left. You understand you're being just as controlled, right?
So who's controlling me?
The people that you don't like. I hear you say a lot of shit. I know where a lot of it comes from because I've heard it from other areas of the internet. And I always hear these same types of things. I don't want to be a sheep. I woke up to the truth. I figured out reality. But the reality is that you went from a sheep from herd A and now you're just a sheep in herd B. So the correct answer was, I decide whether or not to wear a mask based on the data I've read, the studies I've gone over, the articles I've read. That's the right answer. I've seen enough information to point me one way or another. Everything else that you're saying is a cope. You can't breathe. Are you oxygen retarded? What do you mean you can't breathe with a mask on? Are out here running marathons with 3 of them on. How is it possible that you can't breathe with the mask on, right? It's uncomfortable. Seatbelts are uncomfortable, okay? Going to the doctor is uncomfortable, okay? There's a lot of things in life that are uncomfortable. If you want to wear a mask or not, that should be something that you arrive at through your own independent thought process, not because somebody else tells you not to, okay? That's what a 16-year-old does. I think you can do better.
Hello, everybody. So today we're talking about our favorite grifter, Sneako. I actually had a different project I was kind of planning on be my next video, but I heard the situation going on, so I kind of had to talk about it. It was just a little bit too funny. Like I listen, I had to talk about this. So today we're going to be talking about Sneako and his backpedaling that he's been doing recently. This is gonna be kind of a quick video. This is probably only like 10-20 minutes, if that. Well, yeah, we're gonna kind of hop into it. So first, I wanted to hit on and kind of go over a brief history here real quick. So for those of you that aren't initiated in the shenanigans here, so Sneako used to be kind of a video essayist. It was kind of early in his space. So like he started doing like commentaries and that type of thing, and they ended up doing like these really well edited video essays and that type of thing. And then he ended up doing like street interviews, that sort of thing. It was really good content at the time. At some point down the line, he did end up getting into like the red pill community and Fuentes and all those type of people, like Fuentes and Tate, those type of dipshits. And then right now as well, the red pill community is kind of falling apart at the seams right now, because the Tate brothers cut themselves off from the red pill community as a whole. So a lot of them have been kind of ass mad about it and like trying to figure out their place now, because all of them at the time were kind of just glazing Tate and deep throating him. So right now a lot of them are kind of trying to find out where they want to be. But take a look at some of these recent comments Sneako made opposed to his old comments, and we're going to kind of go over that.
It's because they don't consider them people. They don't consider them brothers at all.
Flashback.
The reason that the earthquake might have happened in Haiti, not the Dominican Republic, is because they practice something called voodoo. They call themselves Christians in Haiti, but at the same time, they practice a voodoo, like an African voodoo version of Christianity.
The next morning.
Vast majority of Haitians, if you've ever met and talked to them, they're Christian, they're Catholic. They like will bury period blood and like mix it with hair, put it in the ground. They'll do demonic rituals where people start like vibrating and shaking. You hear a language, sakpase mapule, that you don't understand, and you think these are Some of the people like will fuck horses. So maybe that was God punishing this island for practicing witchcraft and trying to conjure the devil in order to get power. So all they say is you should just leave. You should leave America. Leave the country. Bye. We don't like you. This should be a white country. When was this ever a white country? White people created America. This should be a white country. When was this ever a white country? White people created America.
See here, it's kind of wild. So in the past, Sneako has made comments about like the United States being like a white country and these type of things, but now all of a sudden, when Fuentes and them start talking bad about Haitians, now all of a sudden he wants to backpedal and say that like white supremacy is bad and you shouldn't glaze Hitler and this, that, and the third, which normally I'd agree, obviously, but because of past comments that he's made, it's kind of wild. And the thing is that like, as you saw in the intro, people like Destiny and Abba have initially did try to pull Sneako back into like where he should be, right? They did try to like pull him from that radical side, and they had multiple fireside chats with him to like try to be like, hey dog, this this ain't the path, chief. This ain't the right way. But he wasn't hearing it. So now here we are, and this is his like 7th change. I guess like his fucking system OS updated from like fuck. Now I hinted at this earlier, but Sneako in the past had like hardcore glazed Fuentes and jumped to his defense at every possible position every 5 fucking minutes. There is multiple debates, and I'll probably show some clips here, where Sneako would completely defend Fuentes on every single point, even if it made no fucking sense. And on top of that, then there'd be like debates where like there was one in particular that I have on this channel, like I have a reaction to it on this channel, but I'll probably put a clip up here in a minute, where Destiny keeps trying to get a word in, but like every time he tries to get a word in, either the mod or Sneako or Fresh and Fit would jump in and try to cut Destiny off because they knew that like Destiny was going to cook Fuentes alive. And there was multiple points and various other points where like Sneako would defend Fuentes and be like, oh, he's not a bad guy, you know, he's such a real guy, and this, that, and the third. When Fuentes hates you, Sneako, you are somebody for him to use until he gets what he wants from you. He uses people like Sneako to get his foot in the door in communities and radicalize them to his side, right? Whereas if Fuentes had his... For the record, by the way, Fuentes is a fucking Hispanic, but he is also a white supremacist, right? And if he had his way, Sneako would not be alive. Sneako would not exist. Sneako is mixed race, and that in and of itself is like a sin to Fuentes' side, right? So it was always bizarre to see Sneako defend this man so violently. Whereas like he would fight so hard on Destiny on points, but when Fuentes said some like really out of pocket shit about Jews or something, Sneako would be like, "Oh, I would love to see the data on that." Like, what the fuck do you mean you'd love to see the data on that? Like, what do you...
First-hand experience, no cats.
Haiti's not so bad. Well, why don't you go live there, bro? Why don't you go bring Islam to Haiti? You can go be a jihadist in Haiti. Yeah, except they can't read and they eat mud. Fucking based. Now they eat dirt and they swim in an open sewer.
It is what it is. I'm not white. I live here. I know I'm never really gonna, but that's the truth.
Stop sucking Hitler off. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I've come to realize, and I didn't know this, a lot of people warned me about this, but conservative ideas to a lot of people, it's just white supremacism. It doesn't go back to God, it goes back to Hitler.
It was Hitler evil.
Was Thomas Jefferson evil?
No, I'm switching sides. Did you think that I was going to be an Uncle Tom in the big house for you whites?
Sneako, if the founding fathers saw you, they would have enslaved you. They'd be like, where is your owner, bro?
Me and Nick are good, man. I've always loved Nick. Nick is a friend of mine. I never question Nick. I never question Nick's capability, or I've never questioned his intentions. He's a real he's a real ass.
So George Santos speaking. Not you, George. I'll drop Sneako and bring him back up. All good, George. The glitch with Sneako. Go ahead, George. Sneako, I'll drop you and bring you back up.
Okay. So very simple. To answer your question is, I don't agree with anything Nick Fuentes says. I used to think he was, harmless, and now he's out there, whatever. But I don't think he should be banned. But I don't think we should give him oxygen because he says a lot of things. I mean, his entire following.
Okay, George, I think you're the issue, but it's actually, I'll drop you and bring you back up. But it's actually, Brian, I'm going to give you the mic. You'll probably make a similar point to George, hopefully, and I'll bring George back up.
Yeah. So I've heard some people talking. I think Sneako might have said something that like Nick's been banned on all these platforms because he's been anti-Israel or he has spoken out against Israel. But I feel that there's a lot of minimizing of what Nick has said in the past, and he claims that it's a joke. You say like, oh, you joke around a lot, but like, were you joking when you said that you loved Hitler, or when you said that Jews have no place in Western civilization, or when you called for the Aryan race to go to victory? Like, were they all jokes?
Total Aryan victory, yeah, that's a joke. And loving Hitler, I do love Hitler in a Christian way. I love everybody, as I said. I love you.
You don't see why that might be
Destiny.
a problem? You don't see why that might be a problem, and that might be a little bit different.
Well, but tell me why. But tell me why. Why is that a problematic statement? So, am I obligated to hate Hitler?
So, would you say, Nick, would you hate? Is there anyone on this planet that you would hate? Just first question.
No,
I'm not very
no,
nobody.
Christians, we have to love it. Well, and this is the purpose of saying. And this is the thing I think that's getting lost. The purpose.
Nobody's
of
gonna
saying
make an answer
something
question. Can I leave? This is so fucking boring.
Why would you say something like that? It is to elicit a conversation like this. It is for people to say and question their assumptions. Why is it the case that we have to hate a person? Why? Who can we hate? Who can we love? And who says? And why? Wait. So me, hang on. Me as a Christian, when you say things like, well, you said Jews have no place in Western civilization. I don't know what that specific quote is. But what I am saying is that Jews are not part of the same civilization in the sense that for thousands of years they were segregated from Christians.
Do you think Muslims are part of the same civilization? Should Muslims be allowed to run for office?
Hold on, let me go. Yes, so let me get answer a simple question. I will go back to you. I promise. Nick, I want to back and forth between you and Brian on Brian's particular point before going to Mr. Santos again. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, me too. And I'll make it brief, but a statement like that is Jews are different than Christians, and they have lived in segregation or in conflict or in other ways with each other because they're not Christian. It is a Christian value that we say we love everybody. We love even our enemies. We love everybody. Jewish people say sometimes I think there was an article written in First Things recently by some Zionist, and they said, actually, there's a virtue in hatred. There's a virtue in hating Palestinians or hating Hamas and things like that. And so that does reflect a fundamental difference of values. And when I say, and Christians believe that evil is the Antichrist, the essence of good and God and love is selflessness. The opposite of that is selfishness, pride. So our adversary is not actually Hitler, it's the devil. It's the Antichrist. And the model of good is God. It seems like there's this parallel, separate moral system that's been created where, in some people's minds, Hitler is the devil. And I guess Israel is the angel or something. Like that seems to be the people that are the most evil are the ones that are the most like Hitler. And the goodest people, the best people, the most good, well, they're the ones that are the least racist, the least this. I think that's like an obfuscation. I think that obfuscates the fundamental moral equation for Christians. So when I say, and when me and Ye said that.
I do want to go. Let me get Brian to push back. So
let me quickly ask a question. It's going to be a one-word answer. Based on what you said, because you're basically applying Christian ethics. But let's say hypothetically someone was to kill your family member. Would you apply the same standard that you would dislike the person but still love them?
Absolutely. We're supposed to love everybody. That's why that priest in Australia who got stabbed immediately prayed for the attacker. So that is really the fundamental difference.
And that's the difference. That's the reason Hasanabi gets to go on the mainstream platforms because he doesn't have that sort of basis of ideology. When you come from the atheist point of view, they don't see you as a threat. Nick coming on here and saying that America should hold Christian values, that's the real threat to the Judeo-Christian system. Mario, there's a reason why Elon Musk is not, I love Elon Musk for being saying to me, the reason that he's not in this space right now is because we're talking about the Israel issue, the one issue that scares him the most. They're not supposed to speak about this. Look, the biggest lobby in America is not funded by the Chi-Coms or the globalists. The biggest lobby in America, AIPAC, 98% of their politicians are funded by Israel. This is the main issue. This is what it always leads back to, and that the biggest threat is having people, strong people, like the Goypers that believe in God.
And also, I want to add this as well. Not only do they siphon off Nick's influence,
are we going to get George Santos in here?
Wait. So let me get Brian. Quick, please, Mario. I want to go to Brian and Mr. Santos.
I'm going to be very quick here. The thing I want to mention is that not only do they stifle Nick's influence, but they go ahead and try to stifle anyone that platforms him that isn't diametrically opposed.
No, Myron speaking. Myron, you've got the glitch. I'll bring you down and back up. No,
Sneako, that's not what happened. You did not give a fair criticism based on Islam. Firstly, it is not your job in Islam to criticize anybody. That's the first thing. Second thing, you questioned my faith and called me a Jew. So you were responded to in kind. You cannot be a passive-aggressive little girl. I understand you're young. But if you talk that way to people, you're going to be responded to a certain way. And you do it all the time. It's not just me. It's just who you are. You're very, smarmy, snarky. That's who you are. That's fine. But you deserved it. And you got brutally wrecked because you deserved it. Because you can't call me a Jew. And also, just because you've been Saudi and I've been trapped on house arrest, you don't get to be a better Muslim than me and tell me how the world works either, friend. Right? So, no hard feelings. But you fucking deserved it, right? If you said it in person, I would have knocked your ass out, and I would have helped you get up afterwards and said, sorry, sir, I had to break your jaw. Sometimes things just have to happen, you know? I know you think you're a tough guy because Strickland couldn't finish you. I'll finish you. Don't worry about that. I'm built different.
Next up here, we do have... So, Sneako made some comments at Andrew Tate on Twitter. Right? There's some really out-of-pocket stuff here, so I can't really show it. But basically... Sneako was hardcore questioning Tate. I believe he ended up calling him a Jew at some point. And saying all kinds of crazy shit. And Tate absolutely bullied this man. Because the fact of the matter is, Tate and Fresh and Fent, all these people never really respected Sneako. he was kind of like the autistic child that they just keep around because they think he's funny. Or they think it's funny to look at him and make him think that he's like part of the group. He was like the desperate friend that's always there but doesn't fit in with the group at all. But now Sneako is like ass mad that Tate never like glazed him for defending him in the past. But again, why would he? When the only reason you were doing it at the time was for your fucking victimhood complex. And there was a certain point where even if you had came to the realization that it was fucking stupid, you still had to defend Tate because you were already like balls deep in that side of the internet, so it didn't really matter. That's kind of the situation in its entirety. Yeah, there's not a lot else to talk about here. This is a pretty simple situation. Everybody in this situation is fucking stupid. It was just such a funny situation. I had to make a quick video about it. But I do have some other stuff in the pipeline that I'm working on. Hopefully I can start getting videos a little bit faster. I think I got most of my stuff figured out here. So hopefully that'll start coming on the pipeline a little bit faster. But other than that, y'all have a great rest of your night. Like and sub if you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you all later.